Kaibigan, countrymen, Filipinos, dito po sa Malaysia, doon po sa Pilipinas, kung nasaan din kayo po. Welcome to my program, NikTok, the Real Talk with Nico. And today we'll be touching more on, or let's talk about the impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Duterte. Ang dami na po, a lot of people are commenting on the negative and pros and cons of this impeachment complaint against VP Sara. And hanggang ngayon po, ang dami po are saying that kailangan na mag-start ang impeachment trial ni VP Sara Duterte. While others were saying, hindi, wait for the official announcement of Senate President, si President Chis Escudero, who earlier said na let's wait until babalik daw ang Senado sa June 2nd after the midterm election come May 12. Ano ba ito po? Do you agree that it will only start ang trial of Sara sa pagbalik ang mga lawmakers sa June 2nd or June 6 ba yun? Or kailangan na talaga po mag-start na ang impeachment ni Sara Duterte? Ni Sara Duterte. So, tingin niyo po, if you have any comments, please do so. And go to my comment section and let's see. No? Let's see, and if I find it very, sabihin natin, reasonable to bring the matter, ang mga comments niyo po dito sa programa natin sa NikTok, The Real Talk with Nico, then I am going to air ang mga comments niyo po. So, start tayo po. And to start with our program, today is February 20 na po. And I hope everybody starting the day in a very, very, sabihin natin, peaceful, smooth. Smooth ang morning natin po. And tuloy ito po hanggang sa Biyernes. Because, yes, today is Wednesday, mayroon pa tayong Thursday, and mayroon pa tayong Friday. After that, we are going to enjoy once again ang weekend holiday natin, that is Saturday and Sunday. Okay, umpisa na natin po ang topic natin, which I said earlier, we'll be touching on the impeachment complaint of VP Sara Duterte. Let me, or allow me to read a news article published by Philippine or Philstar dyan po sa Pilipinas regarding itong issue. And according to the report, the Vice President Sara Duterte has asked the Supreme Court or SC to nullify the impeachment case lodged against her for allegedly violating the constitutional provision that bars the filing of more than one complaint within 1 year once proceedings have been initiated. Duterte filed a petition for certiorari and prohibition on February 18 through the Fortune, Narvasa, and Salazar law offices, which sought a temporary restraining order against the Senate from acting on fourth impeachment complaint transmitted by the House of Representatives, which serves as the articles of impeachment. Duterte's father, former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, has signed on as a legal counsel on a petition before the Supreme Court along with 5 other lawyers. Ibig sabihin po, si former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, who is also a lawyer by profession, is now a part of the legal team of Vice President Sara Duterte. In her petition, the Vice President argued that the House of Representatives deliberately circumvented the 1-year bar provision by directing its Secretary General to allegedly give them more time to file the 4 impeachment complaints despite the filing of 3 separate complaints in December last year. And the reason for this, she said, is to allow the House members to gather the required number of signatures to railroad the impeachment process to beat the May 12, 2025 election. Unfortunately, this political stratagem was done at the expense of constitutional standards that respondents as public officers are mandated to observe, with the ultimate goal of having the petitioner perpetually disqualified from running for any national elective office in the future. Duterte's petition read. Under Article Section 3.5 of the Constitution, no impeachment proceedings shall be initiated against the same official more than once within a period of 1 year. Duterte contended that by directing House Secretary General Reginald Velasco to freeze the first 3 impeachment complaints, the House Representatives Committee grave abuse of discretion amounting to lack or excess of jurisdiction by circumventing and violating the 1-year bar. She cited public statements of Velasco where he said 12 members of the House of Representatives, whom he did not name, asked him not to transmit the first 3 complaints to the office of the Speaker to allegedly give them more time to decide whether or not to file another impeachment complaint. Duterte attested that the House of Representatives should have been barred from filing the 4th impeachment complaint since 3 other impeachment complaints have been filed against her and had been deemed initiated when the House of Representatives took initial action by deliberately freezing the first 3 complaints. Ito po. Ito po, this is the hot issue ngayon sa Pilipinas regarding the impeachment issue of Vice President Sara Duterte. In my program today, February 20 po, I will be sharing with you some of these video recordings that I managed to record and share it with you later on or during this program po. So you will have a clear picture kung ano talaga ang updates, ang latest developments tungkol sa issue na ito. And stay tuned po kayo hanggang matapos itong programa because this will be very interesting po. No? This will be very interesting. And of course, this program is dedicated talaga po. Dito ang mga Filipino communities dito sa Malaysia, particularly po dito sa Sabah and very specific dito sa Kota Kinabalu City. And of course, not only for our Filipino communities here in Malaysia, but also it will serve as additional information for mga kababayan natin po dyan po sa Pilipinas and of course ang overseas Filipino workers, ang Filipino migrants in other parts of the world. And yeah, I hope maskin paano po I will be able to update you on the latest developments. So to start with po, no? Shoutout muna tayo kay Melvin Alviar at saka si Laila Bankay Rin, who is watching my program this morning. Good morning to you, and I suppose they are all in Sabah, and I would like to say salamat pagi to both of you and to those who are watching my program today. Salamat pagi, salamat patang, and salamat malam, and God bless all of you. All of you. Okay, tuloy tayo po ang programa natin, and to start with, ang video clip na I would like to share with you today, ito po, no? Start muna tayo kay, sino ba ito? Tungkol sa impeachment petition. Itong petition submitted by VP Sara sa Supreme Court, no? Sa Supreme Court asking for TRO. And yeah, I will share with you itong report, and from there we will kick off ang mga whatever reactions or comments na mayroon tayo po tungkol itong issue. And later on, I'll also be touching on the issue. Also pa rin, sa impeachment po, no? Itong issue, hot issue po, when we talk about constitutional ba ito po? Legal ba ito po? For to jumpstart ang trial ni ng impeachment complaint against sa VP Sara to call for a special session by the President Ferdinand Bongbong Marcos Jr. And at the same time, itong issue, which a lot of people, even politicians and experts, are talking about the word forthwith, umpisa na daw agad, without any delay, immediately po. So, mayroon tayong dito mga clippings, video recorded clippings, wherein ang mga authorities natin dyan po sa Pilipinas, they explain ang side nila tungkol sa forthwith issue po, issue po sa impeachment ni VP Sara. Okay, to start with, let us hear itong report. Itong report galing po sa Pilipinas. Galing po sa Pilipinas regarding the issue. Saan na yun? Okay. Si Sara Duterte of seeking for TRO tungkol sa impeachment. Let's listen to this. 259. Okay, 259. Let's listen to this po. So at least you will have an idea kung what is really happening dyan po sa Pilipinas tungkol sa impeachment. Eto na po. Let's listen to this carefully.
One ouster complaint can be filed against an impeachable official.
Eto po.
Vice President Sara Duterte stirred to challenge her very own impeachment by the House of Representatives. Before the Supreme Court, she filed a petition for temporary restraining order and writ of a preliminary injunction to halt her trial before it even begins. This is on top of a similar petition filed by a group of Mindanao lawyers on the same day, also challenging the constitutionality of the impeachment on the grounds the due process was not followed. In this one, Duterte invoked the rule stating that only one ouster complaint can be filed against an impeachable official within a year. She says that's not what happened between December 2 and February 5 when 4 impeachment complaints were filed, 3 of which the lower chamber failed to act on. At a forum hosted by the UP College of Law, her counsel, Attorney Sheila Sison, said they will exhaust all legal remedies available to them.
Normal naman na ganun yung magiging reaction nila. Pero sa totoo lang, I don't think, hindi ko makita kung saan galing yung desperasyon kung pinag-aralan yung argumento.
The Vice President's team believes the manner of filing the complaint was defective.
Even as the House has exclusive power to initiate all cases of impeachment, hindi po yun absolute. Malinaw na sinabi ng Korte Suprema na itong power na ito, itong kapangyarihan na ito, ay subject sa parameters or constitutionally imposed standards such as the manner of filing, the number of votes required, and the one-year constitutional bar. Bago mag-proceed, palagay ko dapat munang i-resolve yung question ng petition.
In her petition, Duterte listed as one her legal counsels, her father, former President Rodrigo Duterte. That makes it 3 petitions pending before the Supreme Court related to the impeachment. The third one sits on the other side. It's asking the High Tribunal to compel the Senate to proceed with trial at the soonest possible time. The SC has since directed the Senate to comment on the matter. According to Senate President Jesus Escudero, they will respect whatever the High Court's decision will be, but he is standing by his decision not to call an impeachment court until after their break.
Wala namang magaganap kaya recess. Ulitin ko, ano man ang sinasabi ni naman, hanggat walang sesyon at hindi na-convene ang may sesyon, walang trial na pwede maganap habang kami naka-recess. Klaro at maliwanag sa rules na ninyo.
Escudero says he's being very careful since there are technicalities that still need to be trashed out and they don't want to be challenged legally. He says, though, that amendments and only amendments to the impeachment rules will be tackled once senators return to session by June 2.
Gusto ko lang maging maingat.
Okay, yun po ang statement ni the report regarding the petition of Sara Duterte on the issue of impeachment. Tuloy pa rin tayo po ang report that I managed to record so that you will be able to know more facts about the impeachment issue. Ito po, let's listen to the continuation of the report and saan na yun, ha? Saan na yun? 132, whether may impact ba itong petition ni VP Sara Duterte? Ha? Kung may impact ba ito. Let's listen to this. Additional information po para sa inyo regarding itong issue. Andito po. Let's listen to this.
The Senate should...
Just a couple of questions for you before we let you go. What will this mean for the impending impeachment trial of the Vice President? Is this going to in any way delay that or further delay the trial of the Vice President?
Carmina, if the Supreme Court manages to actually settle all the constitutional issues here, then there may not be an impeachment case an impeachment proceeding in the first place if the court rules in favor of Duterte's petition. But if the court prolongs this process, then we can expect a the Senate to delay its proceedings, which was originally expected to happen in June. Another important note here, Carmina, if we look at the last page of the petition, among the lawyers presenting Vice President Sara Duterte in this case are his father, former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, and her father-in-law, Lucas Marque Jr. Carmina.
All right, so then this may also lead to that scenario wherein Senate President Francis Escudero might just say that because there are pending questions before the Supreme Court, they're going to have to wait for those questions to be settled before they proceed with any sort of step regarding the impeachment trial.
The ball now is in the court of the Supreme Court, and that it is all up to the magistrates to decide on when or if this impeachment proceedings against the second highest official would ever proceed.
All right, thanks a lot.
Okay, that's it. The report and the weather. Whether itong petition for TRO by Vice President Sara Duterte will delay the proceedings. Ito po ang continuation ng report nila po. Brief lang tayo, no? Brief lang tayo so that you will be able to have a clear picture. Whether it will delay the proceedings of the trial or start of the trial or not, nandito po ang report.
Father-in-law, Lucas Marque Jr. Now, if the Supreme Court manages to actually settle all the constitutional issues here, then there may not be an impeachment case an impeachment proceeding in the first place if the court rules in favor of Duterte's petition. But if the court prolongs this process, then we can expect a the Senate to delay its proceedings, which was originally expected to happen in June. Another important note here, Carmina, if we look at the last page of the petition, among the lawyers presenting Vice President Sara Duterte in this case are his father, former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte, and her father-in-law, Lucas Marque Jr. Carmina.
All right.
Okay, so yan po. Now, from this report, let's go to the report wherein the Supreme Court got a message to the Senate. May message po ang Supreme Court sa Senado. Ano itong message po? Nandito ang report natin. Sandali. Saan na yan? Ang report. Supreme Court to Senate. Comment on the petition. 350. Ang queue natin is 350 po. And listen to this.
Narillo wanted the Supreme Court to compel. The Supreme Court ordered the Senate to comment on the petition that seeks for the immediate impeachment trial of Vice President Sara Duterte. Supreme Court spokesperson Attorney Camille Ting said the Senate has 10 days to comment on the petition for mandamus filed by lawyer Catalino Generalio Jr. According to the Supreme Court, the petition filed last Friday and acted upon by the ANBAC Tuesday was treated as an urgent matter.
Yes, it was treated as an urgent case, and this is also obvious from the fact that the Supreme Court gave them a non-extendable period of 10 days to comment.
In his petition, Generalio wanted the Supreme Court to compel the Senate to immediately constitute as an impeachment court, as the Constitution mandates that trial shall forthwith proceed. Generalio said the Constitution does not allow the Senate to procrastinate during their recess period. Similar to Generalio's argument, Senate Minority Leader Aquilino Pimentel III wrote to Senate President Francis Escudero to remind him that they should act forthwith on the impeachment case of the Vice President. Senator Risa Ontiveros also expressed support for the immediate trial of the Vice President.
Bilang senador at kapag nahinog ang isang impeachment process, magiging isang senator judge, ay dapat manatiling neutral o impartial. Pero nakikisa ako dun sa sulat na inilabas ng aking minority leader na si Senator Coco Pimentel na sa kanyang pag-intindi sa konstitusyon ay malinaw ang utos sa amin na once matransmit sa amin ang articles of impeachment tulad ng nangyari ay agad po kaming mag-convene.
In a move seen as a counter-petition, supporters of Vice President Duterte filed a petition for certiorari at the Supreme Court asking for a temporary restraining order which in effect will prevent the Senate from holding a trial. In the petition led by attorney Israelito Torion, the impeachment complaint from the House of Representatives was issued with grave abuse of discretion as it is procedurally defective. The one-year ban against 2 impeachment complaints was supposedly violated, and there was not enough verification done by congressmen who impeached the Vice President.
The verification process requires that it should be personally known, the allegations are personally known and studied by the respective congressman who signed it. And if you notice, the congressman who went there did not even know as to the subject matter of the discussion in the House caucus.
In response, those who led the impeachment at the House of Representatives, including the Makabayan Bloc, condemned what they say are desperate legal maneuvers of the camp of the Vice President. Impeachment prosecutors such as Ako Bicol Representative Jill Bongalon also said that it is now panic mode for the Vice President, and the petition of her supporters are purely for publicity.
Kompleto po yung aming articles of impeachment, including the process in which it was transmitted to the Senate. But as far as we're concerned, it is well within the bounds of the law. Ayon po sa ating saligang batas ng Constitution.
Senator Amy Marcos also invoked the separation of powers within the government as the impeachment issue has already reached the Supreme Court.
But since the case is already before the Supreme Court, sub judice na siya. At syempre, igagalang natin anumang hatol ng ating Korte Suprema.
The Supreme Court, however, said it has a say on matters such as impeachment process and impeachment rules. The Supreme Court assured that the 2 petitions, pro and anti-impeachment trial, will be treated similarly. Both are urgent national issues concerning the impeachment of the Vice President. Adrian Ayali, ABS-CBN News.
Okay, yun po, narinig niyo po, no? Very clear, narinig niyo po. And anong say ninyo dyan? Bahala na kayo dyan. Noel Flores Tingson, I would like to say good morning to you. Shout out kay Noel. Thank you very much for watching. God bless you, and God bless to your wife and to your children, and of course to all your members dyan po sa Sacred Heart Filipino Prayer Group. Siya po, si Noel po ang leader dyan. No? So, tuloy natin po ang programa natin, and we are touching on the issue of impeachment complaint against Sara Duterte. Recently po, dyan sa Manila, I managed to record one public service program wherein former President ng Senado, si Drilon, Justice Carpio Morales, and other sabihin natin na mga with knowledge about the illegalities on the impeachment technicalities or complaint against VP Sara, mayroon silang interview and I managed to get a portion of this interview and I would like to share with you now itong interview. To start with, I will share with you itong si Sarmiento yata ito po. But anyway, before I will give you that a portion of the interview, I would like to say again, sabi ni Noel Flores Tingson, good morning po dyan Sir Nico at sa lahat ng NikTok followers. Thank you very much and good morning to you also. Alright, let's listen to this and listen carefully po. No? Listen carefully. Saan na tayo? Listen carefully and I will pray this a little bit mahaba ito po, mga 10 or 11 minutes ito po. But worthwhile po to listen ang explanation po. Ang explanation ng mga experts natin. Hold on. Nandito po. I'll give you a full view po. Full view na lang tayo po so that you will focus. You'll be able to focus and understand really anong ang issue po. Hold on. Nandito po.
Direct to the point. In the ongoing national conversation on impeachment, 3 issues emerge. And what are these? Number 1, can the Senate of the 20th Congress continue the impeachment trial that has started during the Senate of the 19th Congress? Number 2, can the Senate forthwith proceed with the impeachment trial even during recess? And number 3, can the President call a special session at any time? My answer to issue number 1 is yes. This has been addressed in the case of Pimentel Jr. versus Joint Congress Committee to canvass the votes for the President and Vice President, a 2004 decision, where our beloved Justice Carpio penned her separate concurring opinion. Petitioner Aquilino Pimentel Jr. asked the Supreme Court to annul the proceedings before the JCC because it has become functus officio because of the new Congress. But petition was denied by the Supreme Court in an en banc resolution. The Supreme Court making a distinction between legislative function and non-legislative function. The Supreme Court saying that it has not become a functus officio insofar as non-legislative function. Meaning outside of legislation, it has a continuing function. It could be convening as a canvassing board. It could even be serving as an impeachment court. In a separate concurring opinion, our esteemed Justice Carpio Morales, citing the extensive deliberations in the 1986 Constitutional Commission, in the exchanges between Commissioner Mambong, a former lawmaker, and Commissioner Davide, a former lawmaker, she wrote that again, repeating the legislative and non-legislative function of Congress. So yes, it has become functus officio insofar as performing its legislative functions, but not its non-legislative function, which is continuing. My answer to issue number 2 is yes. Can the Senate forthwith proceed with the impeachment trial? Ito po ang mainit na pinag-uusapan po ngayon sa ating lipunan. Further proceed, or in the Tagalog version of the 87 Constitution, dapat agad isunod, is a novel addition in the 1987 Constitution on impeachment, not found in the 1935 not found in the 1973 constitutions, not even in the U.S. 1787 Constitution. In ordinary meaning, as constitutionally interpreted, it means right away. It means immediately. Walang patumbik-tumbik. Walang alinlangan. Gawin kaagad. The records of the 1986 Constitutional Commission are bare. When forfeit proceed was introduced, it was part of the committee report number 17 on accountability of public officers and submitted for plenary discussion on July 26, 1986. Yours truly was the acting floor leader when this committee report, which includes forfeit proceed, was presented on the floor. Absent discussion on forfeit proceed, its immediacy and urgency can be drawn from the intent of the framers of the Constitution, from the exchanges of the members of that commission on the time-compelling significance of impeachment. Commissioner Regalado Maampong, citing, quote, power of impeachment guide to Congress, said that impeachment is not personal punishment or vendetta, but primarily to maintain constitutional government. The President is called to account for abusing powers which only he possesses that have a tendency to subvert constitutional government. And it will include other impeachable officers. Commissioner Blas Ople, in his poetic language, his usual poetic ornate language, stated that impeachment is a sword in the scabbard. It is as good as a sword drawn. It is not a constitutional decoration or a tinsel, but a powerful check on the presidency. The prospect of an impeachment trial, according to him, caused then U.S. President Richard Nixon to resign. Commissioner Felicitas Aquino inputted that impeachment is in the nature of an exemplary act by which the state infuses the highest sense of responsibility to public service. Finally, Christian Monson said that it is a deterrent and added that President Marcos Sr. exerted all efforts at that time to defeat the impeachment proceeding and the subsequent calling of a snap election at the time may have been influenced to some extent by an attempt at impeaching him. We go to question number 3. Question number 3 is, can the President at any time call a special session? My answer to issue number 3 is yes, is also yes. The President may at any time call a special session of Congress. The 1973 Constitution says the Prime Minister may call the National Assembly to session at any time, quote, to consider such subjects or legislation as he may designate. The 1987 Constitution provides that, quote, the President may call a special session at any time. The Philippine experience is that President Elpidio Quirino and President Gloria Macapagal Arroyo, in separate proclamations, called a special session of Congress. Quirino called for a special session to address insurance loss concerns in the Philippines. President GMA to address the VAT issue at the time. In the U.S., the President has called a special session of Congress to to tackle issues related to war, economic crisis, ratification of treaties, and others. It's more broad in the U.S. and the President calls for a special session. May President BBM, our wish, call a special session of the Senate to start the impeachment trial. Of the three issues, the first best option to me, is forthwith proceed. Reasons were already given. The second best is a special session. And the third best is the new Congress continuing the impeachment trial if it is not done before Congress adjourns on June 13, 2025. In the light of these intractable emerging issues, I humbly suggest a National Day of Prayer to beseech God Almighty for guidance and wisdom. Benjamin Franklin introduced the idea of prayer in the sessions of the 1787 Constitutional Convention, realizing the importance of prayer, God's powerful role in the life of nations in shaping their destinies. The same reason why George Washington, in his oath-taking as the first president of the United States, added in the presidential oath, "So help me God." And thereafter, future presidents all over the world included "So help me God" and their swearing-in ceremonies. Well, this may be difficult times in our country. The impasse on this issue of impeachment impacts our country politically and economically. The soonest this issue is put to rest by wise and bold choice of any of the options I have mentioned, the better for our country to become wiser, stronger, and God-praising. Yes, the worst of times can be the best of times. Maraming salamat po.
Okay, yan po ang explanation ng one of the former lawmakers natin dyan po sa Pilipinas, and at the same time expert din po when it comes to legalities of the Constitution. And as what I mentioned, he is a part of this discussion during a public service program aired dyan sa Pilipinas, and of course together with him was a former president ng Senado, si Dillon. And then mayroon din na si Justice Carpio Morales and others experts po, no? Now the issue on tuloy ba po ang trial? Kailangan ba ituloy agad-agad ang trial? Itong kailangan pa ba ang presidente natin si Bongbong Ferdinand Marcos Jr. to call for a special session so that the trial will jumpstart? And ano itong issue na forthwith na kailangan mag-start agad po, which the incumbent Senate President is saying, no, we have to wait hanggang after the election po. No? So meron niyang mga reactions, comments during the discussion, and I will share with you. And of course, kagaya sabi ni VP Sara, God save the Philippines. And of course, narinig natin, so help me God. Alright. So, let's go to the issue on kailangan ba ang Presidente Marcos Jr. to call for a special session to jumpstart ang impeachment trial ni Vice President Sara Duterte. Ito po, let's listen to this. 35, saan na yun? Ito po, let's listen to this, ang mga reactions nila po. To start with si former senator ng Senado, si Senator Drilon, former Senator Drilon. Let's listen to this po.
For referral,
Alan, ha? Sekejap.
yes, I have been a senator judge twice in my life already. But anyway, first of all, let me greet a colleague in the Senate, Senator Robin Padilla, who will be a senator judge come an once impeachment trial. So the first question is, can the president, can an impeachment trial take place during the recess? Yes. Okay. The answer is the impeachment court can only be constituted in a proper referral when the Senate is in session. If the Senate is not in session as it is today, this impeachment court cannot constitute itself because the reference of the impeachment complaint is to the Senate, and therefore the Senate in a formal session will refer this to the impeachment court. So the impeachment court has to be created upon a session of the Senate. Can the president call a special session? Yes, the power of the president to call a special session is not limited by anything. If it is the theory that the impeachment, the president can even call a special session so that the impeachment trial can take place. And if the president can call a special session to consider legislative measures, even the renaming of a street is a legislative measure which we can take up in a special session. How much more an impeachment trial? In my view, an impeachment trial can be called by the president in a special session. What's the next question?
I think we can stick to the first question first, Senator.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator. Justice Carpe Morales, your thoughts?
The Senate is in recess with respect to its legislative functions. Impeachment is not a legislative function of Congress. The impeachment provisions fall under the accountability provisions of the Supreme Court and not under the legislative department provisions of the Supreme Court. So, given that, I believe that impeachment cannot be constituted during recess. This does not mean that during recess, the Senate cannot call for special session. But this is prescribed by so many limitations, including only on urgent legislative matters, and given that, among others, and given that impeachment is not included as among the reasons why special session can be conducted, my conclusion is that no, impeachment proceedings or this impeachment trial cannot be conducted during recess. Thank you.
Alright, sige po, continue tayo po, no? Continue tayo po. Itong issue na ito po, no? Itong issue. So, let's go to the issue of, sabihin natin, forthwith. Very hot issue din po. Very hot issue din po, no? Saan na tayo? 259, 259, 235, 239. Okay, let's listen to this. Hold on, Okay, let's listen to this.
Special session. The first item. special session. Even if you don't include as an item in the special session the impeachment trial, the Constitution provides that the Senate that the impeachment trial shall take place forthwith in the Senate. So even when as a reality, when the President calls the Senate into a special session, the first item on the agenda is consideration of the impeachment complaint filed by the House. And that will be referred to the impeachment court. And then you start the impeachment trial. So I strongly believe that when the President calls for a special session, the impeachment trial immediately takes place because of the mandate of the Constitution.
Thank you, Senator Dillon. Justice Carpio Morales.
According to Black Dictionary, forthwith means immediately, at once, but it also considers reasonable delay under the circumstances of the case. To me, the fact that the Senate is on recess and that some of the current senators are running for re-election, to me these constitute circumstances that can abate the use of the word forthwith. Thank you.
Thank you, Justice. Prof. Gwen, Prof. Te.
Thank you, Justice. My understanding of the word used in the Constitution is not just immediately, but also a sense, as Justice Carpio Morales pointed out, reasonableness, that it means avoidance, undue delay. So that if the action of the Senate is not animated or motivated by imposing undue delay in commencing the proceedings, I think they would well be in compliance with the constitutional mandate to proceed with the impeachment trial forthwith.
Thank you, Prof. Te.
As litigators would know, often when you go before a court and ask for time, the court will usually ask you if you're trying to delay the proceedings. So the question of forthwith, I think, also goes into motivation or intent or things that you can foresee or cannot foresee. So I would agree with Justice Carpio Morales that while it would mean by ordinary meaning, immediately, but it also takes into account circumstances. It also takes into account reason, and it takes into account things that the Senate cannot control, like the recess. The objective circumstances being that the transmittal was made on the last day of the session, and they had gone into recess before they had referred it to the impeachment court. Therefore, that may constitute, even though there is a span of time that intervenes, that may constitute reasonable delay, as it were, and would not frustrate the meaning of the word forthwith.
Commissioner, sir.
Okay, yan po. Ang issue ng forthwith. And yes, mayroon pa din tayo dito isang recorded video clip regarding the issue forthwith, no? And before that, I would like to shout out muna tayo po kay Mary Lou Pentojo, who is watching my program also today. And God bless you, and hope okay na okay. You're doing fine and enjoying the start of Wednesday, February 20 po, no? 20 po. Okay, let's move on. Let's move on to the next video clip that I would like to share with you. Nandito po. Parehas pa rin po ang issue natin, ang forthwith hot issue po dyan sa Pilipinas regarding sa impeachment.
The second
Hold
one,
on.
which is thank you to our co-panelists for this afternoon. I tend to agree with the view that's already been presented, that while the Senate is in recess, they will not be able to constitute themselves into the impeachment court. However, there's another question that perhaps we can discuss in the second round, which is, are there preparatory steps that may be undertaken while the Senate is in recess, so that if they do decide immediately upon resumption of session on June 2 to constitute themselves into an impeachment court, then trial can proceed forthwith. Noting that in the two previous impeachment trials, of course we can ask our Senate President here, shortly after the transmittal of the articles of impeachment, I think within a few days, the impeachment court was constituted and subsequently trial ensued. Thank you.
Prof. Ten? Thank you. Yes, I share what is now apparently a consensus that the Senate cannot hold the trial during the recess. This is simply because when the articles were transmitted, the Senate had already gone on recess without taking steps to convene the Senate as a court to draft up the rules of impeachment, even if they were simply to adopt the previous rules of impeachment that had been used by the Senate before. And so, yes, I would share that consensus, but I also agree with Professor Gwen that during this break, during this recess, the question of whether the Senate can take certain preparatory steps towards making the trial, any trial that may happen once the recess ends, perhaps more expeditious, whether that could happen, I think that is not foreclosed as far as the Senate is concerned.
Thank you, Professor. So if I can ask our Senator Dillon or
Okay, yan po, no? Before going any further, the next video clip, I would like to say good morning, salamat pagi to Marlene Magsayo, who is also watching this program. Itong episode natin po, NikTok, The Real Talk with Nico, February 20. Likewise, sabi po ni Marilu Pintojo, good morning NikTok, followers and viewers. May God bless us all. Sana all po. Sana all. Alright. Thank you very much for participating dito sa program natin po or sa NikTok, and keep in touch lang po kayo sa my program because you will be updated on what's the latest developments tungkol sa political activities dyan sa Pilipinas and some other news regarding ang Filipino community dito sa Malaysia, particularly dito po sa Sabah is Malaysia. And another one, I would like to share with you itong video clip po, no? Video clip. You listen to this, ha? Saan na yun? 132. 132. Hold on, ha? 132. Report impact. Medyo nahirapan tayo. Parang na-confuse na tayo dito. Sandali lang, ha? Saan na yun? Okay. Let's listen to this. Sandali po. Marilu Magsayo, sabi niya, good morning, NikTok. Yes, good morning. Thank you for watching.
Senator Frank,
Alright, hold on.
Senator Frank, this is Carpio, and my co-panelist. What I mentioned in my presentation, this is a very novel addition in our history as a people, not even found in previous constitutions and many constitutions of the world. Very unique provision in the Constitution. Traditionally, yes, on recess cannot be unless the President calls for a special session. But this is a novel addition in the Constitution. And in the light of the intention of the framers of the Constitution, na walang patumpik-tumpik, umpisan kaagad. Because it's time-compelling, significant activity in our country. Accountability, checking abuse of powers, etc., etc. Then, to me, I would say that regardless of the recess, time impeachment trial should begin in the light of this constitutional provision.
Okay, yon po. No? Yon po ang mga issues natin for today. Do you agree? Impeachment trial should start immediately? Or kailangan ba din tayo po maghintay muna after the election? As what the Senate President, si Chis Escudero, earlier announced. earlier announced. Yun pa nga ang issue. And pagdating naman dyan po sa campaign ng mga candidates natin po sa senatorial slate, no? Busy po ang mga kandidato natin. A total of what? 63, 64 sila, no? Eyeing for 12 positions po to be a senator ng Pilipinas. I was made to understand ang grupo supporters ni Pastor Quiboloy will be holding a proclamation rally dito po sa Malaysia, dyan sa Kuala Lumpur on Sunday, February 23rd. Dyan po sa Sky Ballroom Red Hotel. Red Hotel sa Kuala Lumpur. On Sunday yan po. And I was made to understand even Filipino community leaders dito po sa Sabah. Now, they received invitations po to attend itong proclamation rally ni Pastor Quiboloy. Ang partido nila PDP Laban. PDP Laban. And just for your information, pagdating naman sa mga election dyan sa Pilipinas, ang Filipino communities dito sa Malaysia po, since 2016 and 2022, both a presidential election and even ang midterm election last 2019, ang Filipino community dito po supported ang mga kandidato under the banner of former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte. Expected po this time around 2025, May 12, expected po that the Filipino community here in Sabah will also again support ang mga kandidato ni former President Rodrigo Roa Duterte. Everybody, mga Filipinos dito po, they are closely monitoring ang activities dyan sa Pilipinas. Very obvious, it is because they want to make sure that when they take the names or cast their votes during the polling days on May 12 po, na they will make sure that whom they are voting is the right senator for the Philippines for another six years in the position as a senator. Alright, so siguro hanggang dito na lang po ang programa ni NikTok, Career Talk with Nico. And sana lang po, I hope maski paano, I managed to share with you ang mga updates dyan sa Pilipinas, particularly ang political activities dyan sa Pilipinas. And at the same time, I managed to entertain you as you start the day, February 20, Wednesday po. With this, I would like to say thank you very much for watching, for making me a part of your day today. Malaysia, Sabah, the Philippines, God bless us all, and see you tomorrow. Bye.